What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So guys, channel membership is now live. Link is in the description and the first comment. Do check it out. That would really help support the channel. So the news of Carlos Thomas Jr. and Patrick Fuhr parting ways after this past Arnold, that just wasn't a rumor. So this was confirmed by who is the best bodybuilder IG page. And they also tagged Patrick in that post. So the source is directly Patrick Fuhr. And this makes total sense. The way Carlos showed up at this year's Detroit Pro, and to kind of put it bluntly, that was a horrible kind of condition. And if Patrick was the one coaching him, that could have been a really big blow to his reputation. That being said, I have got to say it was a really bad call by Carlos to split up with Patrick after this year's Arnold, after just one show, because he had the chance to give him another shot in just 4 more weeks, and in the same season, and in the same prep. Now the reason people and myself are very disappointed with Carlos is because Carlos toyed a lot of big game before this past Arnold, and we have no idea who advised him to talk about his comparison with Derek Lunsford. And the thing is, he did that more than once in multiple interviews leading into the show, and him placing 7th a couple of days back at Detroit Pro, getting beat by so many guys who many of the bodybuilding fans they do not even know about. That was a total disaster. Now I will go as far as saying this, that the suppression in his squats, they kind of look better 2 years back at Texas Pro compared to what he looked like in Detroit a couple of days back. And when I talk about the negatives, I have to point out the positives as well. His back double biceps in the upper half, that they look improved compared to 1.5 years back, but still not up to a point that his lower half, his hamstrings and glutes, they do not look overpowering, because Carlos has such an impressive lower half. He has so much size, so much mass there. Some of the biggest legs in the men's open right now. Now for those of you guys who do not know, he has a health condition called ulcerative colitis. So maybe his peaking protocol, they are kind of different from others. But I think all of you would agree that he should have stuck with Patrick for at least this one, for at least one more show. Just remember, Logan Franklin and his first show with Patrick, that was the Olympia last year, and he did not bring his 100%, and he was outside of the top 10. And then he went on to shock the entire bodybuilding world at this past Arnold, Ohio. And that is a perfect example on why you should stick to just one coach for at least one whole season. So Hosstile has just dropped some new merchandise, and all the Hosstile supplements and the products, they are tagged in this video. Click the arrow down below and use the code FAZI10 to get 10% extra discount. Next up, we have an update from Hunter Labrada. So it kind of seems like that is still in the recovery phase, or some people call it the health phase. So the ability of Hunter to hold on to all that size, all that mass, without even using the minimal possible gear, that is quite astonishing. And for the people who do not know, Hunter hasn't been on a real cycle since the Olympia last year, so for about 5 months now. And maybe this is the kind of break every IFBB pro out there need. For at least once, after competing for so many years and that too non-stop. So the question right now is that, will Hunter compete this year? Well, maybe or maybe not. Now one thing is guaranteed, that he's taking the most part of the year off. And that too totally off, to get his shoulder fixed. And that information, that was shared by his coach, Ben Chow. Now he's still moving a lot of weight, based on his recent training update. So Hunter and the way he showed up for his last show, the Olympia last year, especially at the prejudging, that was easily the most impressive physique of his entire pro career. And that looked so damn good. And considering that they faded as the prejudging went on, and still he ended up 5th after the prejudging, that just goes to show us that once Hunter nails it 100%, he's gonna be very dangerous, and he can legit be in that top 5 at the Olympia this year or maybe next year. Next up, we have an update from Tonio Burton. So he's doing this upcoming Legion Sports, which is happening at the end of May. And before Derek Lunsford, he made the announcement of him doing Pittsburgh Pro. That seemed like a totally safe bet for Tonio Burton. But considering the fact that how many of these guys, they still have to get their Olympia qualification, and how just one Miss Olympia champion, they can just change the entire scope of a bodybuilding season, it is gonna be kind of tough for Tonio Burton as well. Now in case Derek wins this upcoming Pittsburgh Pro, which is most probably gonna happen, Nick Walker will have to go for the New York Pro. And there are some very big names, some top Olympians like Michael Krizo, Regan Grimes, who are gonna be forced to extend their diets to Cali Pro as well as the Legion Sports. So it kind of looks like that Tonio Burton, he will have to face some solid competition at the Legion Sports in order to secure his Olympia spot. Now that being said, this is a top 8 Olympian we are talking about. And for a guy whose aim is to crack top 6 at the Olympia this year, this should not be a problem for him. So the last time Tonio did the Olympia, he was able to beat so many big guys like Regan, Hassan Mustafa, Charles Griffin. And this time, he's coming in so much bigger, so much rounder. But still, that being said, the size still won't be in his favor. Now he does have some very insane genetics though. Even below 220 pounds, he was able to beat guys like Regan Grimes, roughly 50 pounds heavier than him. And Tonio Burton is one of those guys who always comes in very shredded and very ripped. Plus he also has a great posterior chain. Both of his back shots, they are his biggest strengths. Now Tonio Burton also has some great front shots, like the front lat spread and the abs and thigh. And with all that added mass, he will be a lot more dangerous, a lot more impressive this year. Next up we have some more physique updates from Sergio Oliva Jr. on his way for his comeback at this upcoming Fibo Germany. So is this the best Sergio has ever looked in a prep? Well, yes, that might very well be true. This might very well be his all-time best package. The side leg looks absolutely insane right now. And previously, we were all talking about Sergio Oliva Jr. in the context of William Bonac. As William sponsors, they announced that he's gonna be doing Fibo Germany. But as per AJ Kelly and his reports, William Bonac won't be competing, and this is 100% confirmed. So that now leaves the door wide open for a guy like Sergio Oliva Jr. to get his second pro win and also secure his second ever Miss Olympia qualification since 2018. Because that was the last time and the only time we saw Sergio on that Miss Olympia stage. So the only other guy who has announced that he's gonna be doing Fibo and who has better statistics than Sergio, that is James Hollingshead. Now James has been a 2 times Olympian, and the look that we saw from him 2 days back in Detroit, that was very much appreciated by all the fans because he did draw the size as well as the freak factor. So this is gonna be a very awesome battle. And James has issued a statement after Detroit, and it was another learning experience for him and his coach. Now you can see that he has good abs in those check-in pictures, and for him to win over Sergio, he will have to show up with a bare midsection compared to what we saw a couple of days back, because Sergio's waist, that is also looking at his all-time best. Now I don't think these guys, they have competed against each other before, and interestingly, both are being coached by Stefan, so hopefully they all show up at their all-time best, because this is gonna be a very interesting battle. So just for the record, the posing update posted by Terrence on his IG, that was taken at 7 weeks out of this upcoming Pittsburgh Pro. So at this point, these guys are changing on a very fast pace, on a daily basis. So the size that Terrence has added in this past 1 year, that is so noticeable. Now we often see exaggeration about all of these numbers, but the way it is looking right now, Terrence can legit be anywhere from 8 to 10 pounds heavier than the last time he was up on that stage. So he's one of the best posers in classic physique division. So the presentation, that will be on point this time, as he has no more weaknesses. Now we all want to see Terrence versus Mike Sommerfeld sooner than later, and apparently this is becoming the most anticipated battle that people are really looking forward to this year in Classic. Now this also describes the social media trend and how quickly the narrative changes. So last year when Terrence did not compete, some people even started claiming that Terrence is done as a classic physique competitor, and this division is going to be dominated by all of these top guys. And 1 year later, when Terrence started posting all these crazy updates, he regained all his hype, and I have got to say he is looking just way too good right now. And let's hope that they nail it 100% on the stage, because this is probably going to be his best physique, and possibly the best physique that we are going to see in Classic in 2025. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video, and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.